We have got some seismic changes in our Super 10, really for the first time this season as we enter Week 5. Some upsets, some big wins last week. Let's dive right in. Bartram Trail coming off a loss to Creekside last week, and I kept the Bears in because there weren't a lot of other good options to take their place at number 10. Other candidates like Riverside, Bishop Kenny, they were also coming off losses. Fletcher coming off a loss, so I kept Bartram in. Even with that 49-42 loss to Creekside, they have a chance to get right again this week against Orange Park. Oakleaf, they fall down a couple spots from number 7 to 9 after that loss on the road at Hawthorne last week. Not a bad loss for Oakleaf. Hawthorne is a dynasty in the small rural classification, but Oakleaf has a big opportunity to get back up in the Super 10. They've got a game this Friday against number 6 Bulls. Moving on up, Baker County rejoins the Super 10. They were in there in our preseason. They lost in Week 1 to Bradford, but a very good game to Bradford. That's their only loss. They are hosting Baldwin on Friday night. They've had 2 pretty solid wins on the defensive side of the ball. Number 7, Ponte Vedra, very good showing last week. They held on and beat Beachside, our previous number 10 team, 17-14, a big district win for the Sharks. They also have a win over Bartram Trail. They've got a game this week on Thursday against a solid Menendez team. Menendez 2-1, so very good matchup. Another county matchup this week for the Sharks. 6 and 5. I have Bulls dropping 1 spot. They were 5 last week, but really I bumped them down more so from what Nice did as opposed to what Bulls did. Bulls had a comeback victory last week, 35-28 over Bishop Kenny, and they have a tough game on Friday night against Oakleaf. Oakleaf has been kind of banging on all cylinders, so a good win there. Nice has been one of the stories of the season this year for me. Big win last week over Fletcher, 39-0. The Panthers are 3-0. Oh, by the way, you've got a matchup against your county rival, St. Augustine, on Friday night. One of the biggest Nice-St. Augustine games probably since the Tim Tebow years back in the 03, 04, 05 time. So a great matchup, heavyweight matchup in St. Johns County on Friday night. 4, 3, 2, and 1. We've got some big shakeups here, and I'll talk about Mandarin. They dropped from number 1. They were a preseason number 1. They've been number 1 all throughout the season. They lost last week to Bradford, 18-13. Really, it's a different Mandarin team. They've got a lot of injuries they're trying to work through. They have got a brutal assignment on Friday night, going down to Bradenton to play IMG, and that is a game that only one area team has beaten IMG Academy. That's been Trinity Christian back during the Conquerors heydays when they had Sean Wade, DJ Matthews, those guys. So a tough test for Mandarin, a banged-up Mandarin team heading down to IMG Bradford. I contemplated moving Bradford to number 1, and it's some back and forth. I ended up moving Bradford up 1 spot from 4 to 3 after that win over Mandarin. Well-deserved off week for Jamie Rogers and the Tornadoes. They have had a tough go of it early on. They played Denellen, South Sumter, Mandarin, and Baker County to start the season. 4 playoff teams from last year, all 4 wins. That defense looking phenomenal. 2 and 1 teams, a little bit of change here as well. Told you we got a lot of shakeups. We have Range moving up from number 3 to number 2. I did contemplate them at number 1 as well, coming off a big win over Daytona Beach Mainland. Defending champ Daytona Beach Mainland, which handed the Vikings their only regular season loss last year, 35-14. Victory last week for the Vikings over the Bucks. They are off this week. Well-deserved off week for Donovan Maslin and company. And at number 1, heard me allude to it a minute ago, St. Augustine hosting number 5 Nice, and the Jackets, a big win last week over Riverside, 47-35. Some questions on their defense, but their offense continues to just make noise and move the ball in chunks. Good to get their Trenton Jones, big receiver, back in the lineup, Carl Jenkins Jr. There's no questions on that offensive side of the ball for St. Augustine. They are as advertised. Defense, they've got a little bit of work to do, but I think a chance this week to have a good one against Nice on Friday night. That's at St. Augustine in Week 5. And as a reminder, you can tune into our Varsity 4 game of the week. This week, we've got a good one. We have Trinity Christian hosting Lake City, Columbia. Mid-season clash, both teams 2-2. And the Conquerors, they're a younger team this year, but they are hanging and holding their own. Columbia, of course, always a threat to do something big. Brian Allen back in charge there. Year 2 of the second stint in his tenure. That game is at 7 p.m. on Friday night. We've got a pregame show from 6:50 to 7 and lead you right into our stream. You can catch that at news4jax.com, News4Jax Plus, or on your Channel 4 News4Jax app. That'll do it for sports.